Right now, something very important is happening in Washington. And if you are receiving Social Security, Medicare, or any federal benefit, and if you are receiving Social Security, Medicare, or any federal benefit, you are not going to want to miss this. This just came out, and people are reaching out about this from all across the country. There is a budget deadline closing in fast, and what happens in the next few days could directly affect your monthly check, your Medicare coverage, and the benefits millions of Americans depend on every single month. I want you to stay with me through this entire video because I am going to break this down in plain language. No confusing government talk, no panic, just the facts, so that you know exactly where things stand and what you should be watching for. There is a lot moving right now, and I want to make sure you have the full picture. So if you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we cover these updates every single day, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Now, let me tell you exactly what is going on. The United States federal government is once again facing a critical budget deadline, and this is not a small procedural moment. This is the kind of deadline that determines whether the federal government continues to operate normally or whether it faces what is known as a funding gap. Now, I will explain this in a moment, but first I want you to understand why this matters specifically to you. If you are on Social Security retirement benefits, Social Security disability, SSI, or if you rely on Medicare for your health coverage, then what Congress does or does not do in the coming days is directly tied to the stability and continuity of your payments and your coverage. I will keep you updated every step of the way, but stick with me because there is a lot to cover here. So here's what we know right now. Congress has been working against the clock to pass a new federal funding agreement. The current funding authorization is set to expire, and without a new deal, the federal government could enter a partial shutdown. Now, when you hear the word shutdown, I know that can feel alarming, and I want to address that concern directly right now. Social Security payments are largely protected during a government shutdown. That is because Social Security is funded through a dedicated trust fund, not through the annual appropriations process that gets caught up in these budget battles. So in most shutdown scenarios, your monthly Social Security payment will still arrive on its scheduled date. I want you to hold on to that because it matters. However, and this is where I need you to pay close attention, there are very real complications that can arise even when payments themselves continue. The Social Security Administration offices may operate with reduced staff during a shutdown. That means if you need to apply for benefits, update your information, appeal a decision, or get help with your account, those services could be delayed or temporarily unavailable. For people who are waiting on a new benefit approval, this could mean waiting even longer to receive the help they need. And I know for many of you watching, time is not something you can afford to waste. Now let us talk about Medicare because this is where things get a little more complex and where I want to make sure you really understand what is at stake. Medicare is also largely protected during a shutdown in terms of your coverage continuing. Your doctor visits, your hospital coverage, your prescriptions under Part D, those should not be immediately disrupted in a short-term shutdown situation. But here is the deeper issue that we need to discuss. The budget negotiations happening right now are not just about keeping the lights on in government buildings. They involve decisions about long-term funding, potential cuts, and program adjustments that could affect Medicare reimbursement rates, Medicaid funding, which many seniors rely on, and the broader financial health of programs that you have paid into your entire working life. There are lawmakers right now who are using this budget deadline as leverage to push for changes to entitlement programs. That is the word they use in Washington. And I want you to know that we are watching every move being made, and I will keep you updated the moment anything changes. Now, there is something else happening alongside this budget deadline that deserves your attention. There have been ongoing discussions in Congress about what is called a reconciliation bill, a massive piece of legislation that combines tax policy, spending priorities, and changes to several federal programs all into one package. Some versions of this bill that have been floated include provisions that would affect how Medicaid is funded, which affects low-income seniors who rely on both Medicare and Medicaid, sometimes called dual-eligible beneficiaries. If you fall into that category, you are one of the most important people watching this video right now, because the decisions being made in Washington in the coming days and weeks could have a direct impact on your out-of-pocket costs, your coverage options, and the kind of care you are able to access going forward. Stick with me because I also want to address the cost of living piece of this. Stick with me because I also want to address the cost of living piece of this, because it is connected in ways that most channels are not talking about. Inflation has remained a persistent challenge for seniors on fixed incomes. The Social Security Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA, that went into effect earlier this year was intended to help offset rising prices. But many of you have told us, and I hear you clearly, that the adjustment does not always feel like enough when you are sitting at the kitchen table trying to stretch every dollar. And now, with this budget uncertainty in Washington, there is real concern about whether future COLA adjustments, future funding levels, and future program structures will hold up the way they are supposed to. I want to be clear with you, nothing has been cut yet. No benefits have been eliminated, no payments have been stopped. But what we are watching is a process that could lead to changes, and the best thing you can do right now is stay informed. Because when you know what is coming, you have time to prepare. You have time to ask questions, to call your representative, to make your voice heard. And that is exactly what we are here for. I will keep you updated every single day because your peace of mind matters and your benefits matter. Now, let me bring this full circle and give you the clearest picture I can of where things stand today and what to watch for in the days ahead. Congress is racing toward a budget deadline. The risk of a short-term shutdown is real. But even if a shutdown happens, your Social Security payment schedule should not be disrupted. Your Medicare coverage should remain active. However, customer service access at the Social Security Administration may be limited, and processing times for new claims could slow down significantly. On the bigger picture side, the reconciliation bill and broader budget negotiations could shape the future of these programs for years to come. We are watching Medicaid funding levels, potential changes to Medicare reimbursement, and any proposals that touch benefit structures. I want you to bookmark this channel, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on your notifications because the moment something breaks. As always, if you found this helpful, please share it with someone you know who is on Social Security or Medicare because they need to hear this too. Drop a comment below and tell us your state and whether you have noticed any changes in your benefits or your coverage recently. I read every single comment, and your feedback helps shape what we cover next. I will keep you updated. We will be back with the latest the moment anything new develops on this budget deadline. You are not alone in this. We are watching it together. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next update.